Paris, the city I had dreamed about for years, and the place I finally decided to slow travel for a full month. You know the cliches: morning croissants, candlelit dinners, accordion music on random streets, people drinking wine like it's water. And honestly, a lot of it is true. When you first arrive, Paris really can feel like a beautifully scripted movie. But living in Paris, even for just 1 month, is a whole different story. Very quickly, I discovered two Parises: the romantic postcard version and the real one. The real one has stunning sunsets on the Seine, yes, but it also has surprise expenses, unexpected challenges, and some downsides nobody seems to mention when they claim this is the best city in the world. So in this video, I'm going to break down the real cost of living in Paris, from rent and groceries to transportation, lifestyle, and all those sneaky hidden costs that hit you when you least expect it. I'll also talk about long-term visa options for France, because if you fall in love with this place, you'll want to know how you can actually stay here legally. And I'll be honest, by the end of this video, you'll either be looking at flight tickets or you'll be saying, nope, not for me, especially when we get to the downsides and deal breakers near the end. That part alone is worth sticking around for. All right, let's get started. So why do so many people choose Paris? For me, it wasn't only about how the city looks. It was the lifestyle. Paris has this unique rhythm where culture, food, work, nightlife, and daily life all blend together. It feels alive. You can walk down one street and hear jazz, turn the corner and stumble onto a modern art gallery, and 5 minutes later, you're sitting in a cafe that's older than most countries. Another reason people move here is opportunity. Paris is home to countless world-class companies, international organizations, and startups, which means high salary potential, especially in tech, finance, fashion, and design. That attracts professionals from everywhere, so the expat community is massive. You never feel alone here unless you choose to. It's also an incredibly easy place to work remotely. There are co-working spaces everywhere, digital nomad cafes with fast Wi-Fi, and neighborhoods full of entrepreneurs tapping away on laptops over cappuccinos. But what really surprised me is how Parisians live. They know how to enjoy life. They work hard, but they also party, socialize, and spend time outside. You'll see groups by the river until late at night, picnics in parks on random weekdays, and bars that feel like they never want to close. And then there are these small things that make life comfortable. You can drink tap water, and they're weirdly proud of that. The produce in supermarkets and local markets is fresh. Real tomatoes, real strawberries, bread that doesn't taste like cardboard. It's the kind of food quality you don't get in many big capitals. At the end of the day, Paris offers a mix of great work opportunities, inspiring lifestyle, social energy, beauty, and culture. It's not a perfect city, but it has a charm and intensity that make people want to stay. Housing in Paris is brutally expensive. If you plan to live here, rent will swallow the biggest chunk of your budget, no question. If you want your own place inside the city, brace yourself. A tiny studio usually starts around 1,600 to 1,800 euros, and a one-bedroom apartment can easily hit 2,000 to 2,500 euros per month. That's just the reality here. When I say inside Paris, I mean living within the périphérie, which is basically the big ring road that circles the city. Inside that ring is the real Paris. Charming streets, cafes, houseman buildings, bakeries on every corner, and equally charming prices that punch you in the stomach. Because of that, most non-millionaires start with a shared flat, where you rent a single room. A decent room in a good neighborhood is typically 900 to 1,100 euros. Still expensive, but much more realistic than living alone. Now, about those gorgeous Parisian buildings you see on Instagram, the elegant balconies, big windows, dreamy fireplaces, those are Haussmannian apartments. Yes, they're stunning. Yes, they're expensive. If you land a six-figure salary or have a wealthy grandma, then sure, enjoy. The rest of us will admire from the sidewalk. On the opposite side of the housing fantasy, there are the tiny chambre de bonne attic rooms. And here's where it gets funny. Paris even has laws about how tiny your tiny apartment is allowed to be. Legally, it must be at least 9 square meters and 2.2 meters high. If your ceiling is lower, the city basically says, nope, that's a closet, not an apartment. Only in Paris, right? There are also rent control rules, which technically limit how much landlords can charge. Sounds great until you start apartment hunting and realize it mostly means competition is insane and landlords can be as picky as a Parisian sommelier judging wine. So here's the bottom line. Paris is magical, but housing is tiny, competitive, and wildly expensive. Food in Paris is both amazing and a little shocking for your wallet. You will quickly notice that grocery prices can be wild. The same milk that costs next to nothing in supermarkets like Lidl or Auchan suddenly doubles in Monoprix. That's why most expats quickly figure out which stores actually make sense and start cooking at home most of the time. For one person, groceries will usually run around 300 euros a month if you're smart about it. Eating out is where Paris really shows off. Locals often grab a lunch menu, or Formula du Midi, at a nearby cafe or brasserie. It's usually a main dish with a drink or dessert for around 15 to 18 euros, and that's where most people actually eat during the work week. If you go for the casual cafe scene, a good cappuccino will cost you 4 to 5 euros, a croissant around 2, and a quick crepe or kebab somewhere between 5 and 10. And then there's the brunch and dinner culture. If you like sitting down for a proper meal, a dinner with a drink will often be 25 to 35 euros, and brunch can easily hit the same range. That kind of lifestyle, where you cook most meals but still go out occasionally, will put your monthly food spending somewhere around 500 euros a month. The thing is, Paris makes it really easy to eat well. Fresh bread every morning, organic vegetables you won't find in many other big cities, amazing cheeses and pastries. You really feel like you're living in a foodie capital. You just need to learn the tricks, like avoiding tourist traps and expensive chain stores, and you can enjoy a fantastic food life without completely breaking the bank. Getting around Paris is actually one of the city's best surprises. After living here for a month, I quickly realized that you don't need a car at all. In fact, owning one is more of a headache than a convenience. The city's public transport is excellent, reliable, and surprisingly affordable. A single ride on the metro, bus, or tram costs around 2 euros, and if you plan to use public transport daily, a monthly unlimited card starts at 75 euros, while the one covering all zones in and around Paris will run you about 90 euros. If you want a little extra flexibility, occasional taxis, Ubers, or electric scooter rides will probably add another 50 euros to your monthly budget. But for the most part, walking and the metro are all you need. Paris is compact and flat, so you end up discovering hidden streets, tiny cafes, and charming corners just by exploring on foot. Biking is also getting more popular, with new lanes and city rental bikes available in the warmer months. Paris is a city where transport is easy, efficient, and won't drain your wallet, leaving you more time and money to enjoy coffee, pastries, and all the little adventures this city has to offer. Utilities in Paris are generally reasonable, but they can surprise you, especially during the winter months. Heating is the big factor here. Most apartments rely on central heating, which works well but can push your bills higher when it's cold. Electricity, water, and heating together usually run around 100 euros per month, sometimes less in the summer, sometimes more in the dead of winter. Internet in Paris is excellent, which is great news for digital nomads and anyone working remotely. For around 25 to 30 euros a month, you can get fast and reliable fiber optic internet that makes streaming, video calls, and all your online work seamless. Wi-Fi in cafes and co-working spaces is also widely available, so whether you're at home or out exploring the city, staying connected is never a problem. Paris isn't just about work and walking around beautiful streets. It's a city that knows how to live. The lifestyle options are endless, and the city really caters to every kind of mood. Coffee culture is huge. You can spend hours in a cozy cafe sipping a cappuccino for around 3 to 4 euros, watching the world go by, or diving into a laptop session if you're working remotely. Nightlife is just as vibrant, from casual pubs with local beers for 4 to 5 euros To trendier cocktail bars where drinks run 8 to 12 euros, Paris has something for every kind of night out. Clubs usually charge around 10 to 20 euros for entry, sometimes including a drink, and the city loves its festivals. Music, art, food, and seasonal events fill the streets all year round, often for free or at a very reasonable price. If you enjoy being active, gyms are widely available, with memberships typically between 30 and 50 euros per month, and many include access to saunas or pools. Outdoor enthusiasts will love that Paris encourages walking, biking, and even skating in some parks. And of course, the cultural scene is unparalleled. Museums, galleries, theaters, and concerts are always happening. And many museums even offer free entry on certain days, so you can explore world-class art without breaking the bank. The lifestyle in Paris is all about balance. You can live simply on a budget or indulge in the finer things, from fresh pastries and gourmet meals to music festivals and gallery openings. The city gives you the freedom to craft your own pace of life, and it's hard not to get swept up in its rhythm. If you're trying to make sense of living in Paris, let's break down what it actually costs. For rent, a tiny studio a bit outside the central areas, or a room in a shared flat in a nicer neighborhood, will usually run you around 1,000 euros a month. Food, including groceries if you cook most of the time and the occasional lunch, brunch, or dinner out, will come to roughly 500 euros. Transportation, covering a monthly pass and the occasional taxi or rideshare, adds around 100 euros. Utilities and internet, which keep your apartment cozy and your Wi-Fi lightning fast, are about 100 euros as well. Entertainment and fun, like catching a movie, enjoying a night out, or exploring local events, will set you back another 150 euros, and small extras, haircuts, toiletries, or little indulgences, about 50 euros. Paris has no real limits when it comes to spending. You can easily double or triple this budget if you want a fancier lifestyle. But around 1,900 euros a month, you can live very comfortably. You'll have a nice apartment, good food, the ability to enjoy the city's nightlife and culture, and still feel like you're living the Parisian life without constantly stressing over every euro. It's enough to enjoy what makes Paris so magical while staying realistic about day-to-day expenses. If you're considering a longer stay in France, understanding the visa landscape is crucial. For digital nomads and retirees, two primary visa routes are available: the long-stay visitor visa and the self-employed visa. Long-stay visitor visa permits non-EU nationals to reside in France for up to 1 year without engaging in local employment. It's ideal for those who wish to immerse themselves in French culture without the need to work for a French employer. To qualify, applicants must demonstrate sufficient financial means to support themselves during their stay, typically by showing a monthly income at or above the French minimum wage, which is approximately 1,800 euros before tax. Additionally, proof of comprehensive health insurance covering the entire duration of the stay is required. Accommodation arrangements must also be confirmed. The application process involves submitting necessary documents to the French consulate or embassy in your home country, and it's advisable to initiate this process several months before your intended arrival. For those planning to work independently in France, the self-employed visa is a suitable option. This visa allows individuals to engage in commercial, industrial, artisanal, or agricultural activities, or to work in a liberal profession. Applicants must provide evidence of their professional qualifications and experience, as well as proof of sufficient income to support themselves. Additionally, registering as a self-employed individual in France is necessary. The application process is similar to that of the long-stay visitor visa, requiring submission to the French consulate or embassy in your home country. While France currently does not offer a specific visa tailored for digital nomads, there are plans to introduce such a visa in 2026. This forthcoming visa aims to cater to remote workers who wish to reside in France while continuing their employment with non-French companies. Details regarding eligibility criteria and application procedures are yet to be announced, but it's a development worth monitoring if you're considering a move to France in the near future. One of the best things about Paris is that you don't need a big budget to enjoy the city. There's so much to see and do for free if you know where to look. Walking through the streets of the old town, past historic buildings, tiny courtyards, and grand squares is already an experience in itself. Parks are everywhere, perfect for a picnic, reading a book, or just watching Parisians go about their day. I personally love the Luxembourg Gardens. Beautiful fountains, sculptures, and peaceful spots to sit and soak in the atmosphere. If you're into art, a lot of museums have free entry on certain days each month, so you can explore world-class exhibitions without spending a cent. Street performances, festivals, and cultural events often pop up unexpectedly, filling the city with music, dance, and energy, all free to enjoy. Even the Seine has its charm. Strolling along the riverbanks, or sitting on a bridge watching the boats and people go by can easily fill an afternoon. And let's not forget the food markets. Even if you don't buy anything, wandering through the stalls in places like Marché d'Aligre or Marché des Enfants Rouges is a feast for the senses. The sights, smells, and energy of locals bargaining and chatting make you feel like a part of the city without opening your wallet. Paris proves that some of the richest experiences come from just being present, exploring, and noticing the small details that make this city so iconic. Paris isn't just a dream to live in, it's also a dream to travel from. Whether you're heading to the French countryside, exploring other parts of Europe, or even catching a flight to another continent, getting in and out of Paris is incredibly convenient. The French rail system is top-notch. High-speed TGV trains whisk you from Paris to cities like Lyon, Marseille, or Bordeaux in just a few hours. Prices vary, but booking in advance can get you fares starting around 50 euros one way. For international trips, the Eurostar connects Paris to London in about 2.5 hours, with prices from 60 euros one way. If you're heading to Germany or Spain, regional trains are also available, though prices can be higher, especially if booked last minute. For budget travelers, buses are a great option. Flixbus offers routes from Paris to various European cities, with prices starting as low as 9 euros, depending on your destination and how early you book. For example, a bus ticket from Paris to Brussels can cost around 20 euros, and to Geneva, it starts at 40 euros. Travel times vary, but buses are generally a cost-effective way to get around. When it comes to flying, Paris is a hub for low-cost airlines like Ryanair and Wizz Air. Ryanair frequently offers deals from Paris to destinations like Milan, Brussels, and Seville, with one-way fares starting from 15 euros. Wizz Air also has competitive prices, with flights to cities like Budapest and Warsaw available from 30 euros. Keep in mind that flight prices can fluctuate based on demand and booking time, so it's always a good idea to compare options and book early. Paris has a way of pulling you in, but it's not for everyone. Many expats fall in love with the city's charm, the mix of history and modern life, the world-class companies, high salaries, and the vibrant co-working scene. Parisians know how to enjoy life, whether it's cafe culture, fresh markets, or nightlife, and there's a huge expat community to make you feel at home. Tap water is safe, fruits and veggies are fresh and delicious, and the city always offers something to explore. But living in Paris can also be frustrating. Housing is expensive and competitive, even for a small studio or a shared flat. The cost of living adds up quickly when you include food, utilities, transport, and the occasional night out. The city is crowded, noisy, and public transport, while excellent, can be packed during rush hours. Bureaucracy can feel never-ending, from visas to healthcare, and long gray winters can wear on your mood if you're not used to them. Parisians also have a reputation for being a bit cold or snobbish, and while it's mostly playful pride, it can be a culture shock at first. Some neighborhoods feel completely different from what you imagine Paris to be. In some areas, you might hardly see anyone who looks like what you picture when you think Paris, and that's just part of the city's mix. In the end, expats either fall in love with Paris, embracing its rhythm, culture, and quirks, or they leave when the costs, stress, or daily challenges outweigh the perks. I'd love to hear what you think. Could Paris be your next city, or would you pass? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more city breakdowns.